Alright guys, we're back on the project. I have fitted the nose to the test shot Fiero along with the hood just to make sure everything lines up properly and so that we can figure out how to exactly to mount this without having too much of an issue. Now we already know we're having an issue with these wheels, which we're going to correct on the other models as we go along. So now, let me talk to you about mounting the front end on this thing. I don't know how many of you guys are actually going to build this kit, since there aren't that many of them out there, and there probably won't be too many left after this, as I did find out at a model show that no one even knows where the tooling is for this kit. So there's no word on whether we'll get any more of these ever again. So, let's talk about mounting the nose. Whoops. Let's not drop that, which we have to repaint. To mount the nose, you have to attach the front end. It's got glue points on either side. You have to be very careful because it's very easy for the glue to seep out. Let's see if I can give you of these corners where the moldings are and the signal lights. So you have to be very careful when you put the glue down that you just put it on the inner portion of, I don't know if you guys can see that. As a matter of fact, let's show you on one of our other bodies. Okay, this is live filming here. We just roll with it, guys. Just roll with it. This will all make sense in a second. Okay, here we go. Here we have on Fiero Blue. Let's bring you in close so you can see this clearly. There is a small tab you can see there on the inner portion of the front fender. And that's what you're going to line up your front bumper with. Now you're going to apply glue to the inner portion of the fender right here where the arrows are pointing and on the front of the fender. And you're just going to put a couple of drops of the super glue on there. Now when you're gluing it down, you're going to want to tape over the fender to hold the bumper in place. As you're going to find with the hood installed, which has to be done to the bumper before you install the bumper, and we'll talk about that in a second because that's interesting. You're going to lay a piece of tape down to hold the bumper to the fender on each side and just let that sit till it dries. Now, the one thing you may have noticed is that the panel gap on the front is going to be a little bit wider than the gaps on each side. That is just the way the kit is. Not really much that you can do about that. So I didn't really give that too much thought. Once the kit is put together, it's not quite as obvious as it looks here. Now the hood, told you we'd get to that. There is a small issue with the design of the hinge of the hood. As the hood does open, but due to the design of the hood, it only opens about that much. So you can just barely get a peek at all the details on the inside. So I'm going to be making some changes of that to Fiero Blue and Fiero Red because I'm building it for my buddy Romaldo and I want to have him be able to see all of the detailing. So we're going to be playing with some magnets and changing the hinge mechanism of this hood just slightly so that he can actually remove it from the car and display all the interior details. Now, there is a small bracket on the inside of the bumper. You can see that there. And that is what holds the hood in place as part of the hinge mechanism. Now, while it does hold the hood firmly in place and it really positions it pretty nicely, except for that, bit of a larger gap there. But you know what? On the real car, I also have a bit of a larger gap there. While it does do that, it limits the movement of the hood. So we're going to go into that more as we see it all going together on Fiero Blue and Fiero Red. Now, we also have the wipers installed. As you can see, the wipers are not the most convincing looking items ever. So we may be making some changes on Fiero Blue and Red concerning these wipers also. So that's where we're at right now. We have the front bumper installed. We have to install the third brake light and the mirror assembly into the interior there. And then we will be done with the major portion of the body. After that, it comes assembly of all the subcomponents, which is the interior, the chassis, and the body, installing the rear bumper, the wing, and then the mirrors, and then Fiero Gray will be done. So we're going to move on to Fiero Blue now and do a little bit of work on that to try and catch up to Fiero Gray, as Fiero Blue is going to need quite a bit more in the way of paint work because it's actually getting paint and Fiero Gray did not. So join me for this. It should be interesting. Alright guys, we're moving on to working on Fiero Blue for a bit because Fiero Gray just kind of annoyed me. I was trying to put the mirror on and that just turned into a mess for the interior rearview mirror. So I decided to move on to another project. As I said before, I wanted to make the hoods removable so that you could look at all the detail that is a little obscured by the way the kit designed the hood. So I thought of either redesigning the hinges here to be something that opens up a little bit more, or do one better and make the hood removable so you could actually look in there and see everything without anything blocking your way. What I did was I decided to install magnets. It's a little ugly right now as I just figured out how to install it, so just showing you the basic design of it. I put a magnet on the hood, inserted a magnet into the body, and that will now hold the hood in place. And if he ever wants to display it with the hood open or off, you can just take the hood off and display all of the details that are going on in the interior there. Now, the way I did that was very simple, even though I made a bit of a mess of it here, but I'm going to have to clean that up. And once it's painted, you'll barely be even able to notice any of that. I drilled a small indentation into the hood there to insert one magnet. Then I just drilled through the body here for the other magnet, which had to be recessed into the body in order for the hood to close all the way. Now, once I drop the hood on, put it into place, boom, there we go. Well, I mean, it'll fall out if you shake it, as I only put one small magnet in, so as to not ruin the stock look of the car. But you put it in there, make sure that the magnets are, there they go. Make sure that they're attracting, and there you go. Now, the more magnets you put on there, the stronger the hold will be. But this one magnet is enough to hold the hood in place when the kit's being displayed. And then you can just remove it and reinstall it, as long as you make sure that the one magnet is actually in the right place. What you see there? Holds the hood right in place. So we're going to go ahead and do it on that Fiero Red so you guys can see exactly how I put it all together. And we'll put Fiero Blue aside with its hood still on. Yay! Now we're going to talk about installing the interior tub into the body of the Fiero test shop build. Now the interior just slots in. You got to kind of just squeeze it in there, being very careful not to knock the mirror off the glass, as that was a pain to get on there. And while I was doing it, I noticed something about this interior tub. The engine grills, you can see there, is not sitting straight up against the body. Now, that's an easy fix. I've already done it on this side. Almost perfect to where I want it, as it has to meet the sail panel here in order to sit correctly. That was a quick and easy fix, which just involved heating up the plastic a little bit, flexing it back up, and getting it to sit where it's supposed to. That may have been deformed due to the decades that this model has sat. But here you can see the difference. Let's see. We can line it up there. There you can see the difference of where the grills are and where they're supposed to be. So now we just have to get this one up a little bit and we'll be ready to go. So we're going to do that now. I use my trusty little butane torch here. Use this for all sorts of electrical work, and works pretty good as a torch to heat up the plastic. Gotta be very careful that you don't melt it. So let's just do a little bit of heating up here. And we give it a little flex upward. Because we don't want to damage it, we just want to give it a little bit of a nudge upward. So we're more or less even with the other side. Let it cool off. That is more or less even. Now we'll do a test fit. We'll shut this off so that we don't burn the house down. And let's fit this inside. Being very careful. Line it up to the mirror, the glass there. And we still have to come up just a bit more on both sides. Okay, so we're going to work on that a little bit more. So just hang out while we light it up. Okay, that's acceptable there. So as you can see now, the grills are right up against the sail panels. And the glue will handle the rest. So we're going to glue the interior in now. Okay, there's a couple of contact points for the interior. And we're going to try and see if we can make them all there. Okay guys, now we have the full sub-assemblies completed. We have the interior and the body attached. We have the trunk lid installed. Now one thing I did want to note about the trunk lid is that there is a little bit of a gap here where it won't seat fully all the way. So we're going to try our little heating trick a little bit more to see if we can't convince it to stay where we want it. If not, I know I was going to build this as it is out of the box, but there are quite a few things about this kit that are annoying me, and when I look at it, it's just going to annoy me even further. So the magnet trick that we tried with Fiero Red and Blue, we may be putting a magnet in here, as that may correct this little gap issue that we have here, if we can't correct it with a little bit of heat, just to kind of persuade the plastic to sit where we want it. So, but in the meantime, we're going to test fit the chassis now. as we're getting close to the end of Fiero Gray. And that's going to lead us to a lot of answers for Fiero Red and Blue. The issues that we're going to run into when we're putting those together. Now, the chassis actually goes in pretty easily as it drops right on, but you're going to notice that there's a little ridge here that you're going to have to just flex the chassis out a little bit just to clear that. And then it should just drop right in. Now, this kit has had a few issues as far as going together, but thankfully this is not one of them, except for the fact that, do you see that? If I glue down the back, the front goes out. If I glue up the front, the back goes out. Again, that may be some warpage due to the age of the kit. So what I'm going to do is we're going to glue the front down first. Once that's secured and held together, then we're going to glue the back down. And that should allow the chassis to flex just enough to hold everything together. And then we should have our chassis attached. And those tires are really bugging me. I know I keep saying this is the build out of the box just to show what you would get if you just built it as is. As a promo build, this is what it would have looked like. But that's really bugging me, and I'm probably going to end up changing that at some point. But for now, it's going to stay the way it is. So now we're going to attempt to attach the chassis. Well, after we try a little more heat here to see what we can do about what's going on with this rear deck lid. Alright guys, as I was saying about the chassis, we have the front end glued down right where it's supposed to be, so that's nice and tight, but you can see how far up the rear end of the car goes. So now we're going to have to convince the chassis that this is where it wants to be. And you can see the difference in the height. So hopefully that won't cause us any trouble with final assembly on Fiero Gray. And then we're going to talk about all the issues that this kit has as we're done with the first one. And we're moving on to the second one. Okay, now we have the rear end glued down, and as we're waiting for the glue to cure, we're holding it together with our handy dandy Husky clamps. I've shown them before, but I just can't get enough of these things. I love them. They work fantastic. Here we go. That's the release. Wait, that's, well, it's already sealed up. Hold on a second, guys. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. Maybe not. These are great clamps with the rubber shoes on them, so that won't do any damage to the car, even though I like to use a microfiber cloth anyway, just to protect any sort of paint or finish on the car. But you can just hold them there like that. They work fantastic. As you can see, they're coming in. They have a release here. I mean, it's just a fantastic little tool to use. And it really helps with stuff like this. So, as soon as that dries, we'll see what our result is. Okay, guys, now we have the body fully mounted to the chassis, and the interior is inside. And as you can see, the body is attached in both the front and the rear, so that we don't have that seesaw effect that we had before. And everything is holding pretty well. Now it is flexing the chassis a little bit, but I don't think that's going to be an issue, as I think the chassis was probably warped. Because you got to remember, this kit is well over 30 years old. But everything seems to be lining up nicely now. And apart from the tires with their wibble wobble, as you can see that, based on the mounting system that MPC used on this car, other than that, it seems to be coming together nicely. So we're going to keep going. I'm going to wrap up this video here. So there we have it, guys. All the major sub-assemblies are together. Now it's just doing trim work, lights, the mirrors, and this one is going to be, we're going to call this one a wrap. And everything we've learned here, we're going to use and correct on the two following cars. So while it doesn't look horrible, I'm pretty much okay with everything except these tires. That really does bug me. And I know I keep saying that this is a test shot build. It really does bug me. Alright, so I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to end this video here. And we'll be back with the rest of it as we continue on this triple build. Alright, guys. Here we have it. Part 1 of our triple build is done. This was just an interesting experiment building the test shot fiero. As I've always really liked looking at the test shot cars that the manufacturers put out. So I figured, why not? Let's build one. Right out of the box, exactly the way they design and build the cars. And we'll see how well it goes together. Whether it's supposed to go together that way or not. Or whether there are better ways to do it or not, which there certainly are. And after building this one, I have seen quite a few better ways to do this. But it was an interesting little experiment. And I kind of enjoyed it. I really do like the look of the test shot cars. And I'm really happy with the way this, with having done this. And I may do it again in the future. Just to have a version of the cars that are just assembled the way the manufacturer intended. Unfortunately, sometimes what they intend doesn't exactly work. So there were quite a few fit issues with this kit. It is a very parts heavy kit. It comes with 147 parts. And there's quite a bit to do on this model. And we're going to continue with these builds, as we're going to continue with Fiero Red and Fiero Blue. And a lot of what we did on Fiero Gray, we will be modifying and correcting in Fiero Blue and Red, as there are better ways to do things than what the manufacturer recommends. So here's just a quick look at her. And it's a fun experiment. You know, you guys, I recommend you try it. Just build one. Like a test shot build. It really gives you an insight into the kit when you don't have to worry about paint or anything else. Just the entire assembly process. And you can try and find better ways to do things. And like I said, it was just a really fun experiment. And definitely something I'll be doing again in the future. Wow, those tires are really bothering me, and I could fix that.
No.
But that's really, really bothering me. I'm probably going to end up fixing it, guys. I know it's a test shot, but I'm probably going to end up fixing that because the stance of this car just really, really is bugging me. Alright, that's it for now. And I will see you guys again on the next episode of this build. We'll take a quick look at... Whoopsie daisy. I forgot the wheels roll on this one. Let's just take a quick look at... Oops! I didn't mean to do that. Just dropped a whole bunch of stuff, guys, which I'm going to have to pick up now. But I'll do that after I give you guys a quick peek. There we go. There's the engine. Everything's on the side there. And let's take a peek inside the under the hood. The only thing missing is the spare tire, which I forgot to put in, which we're going to be putting in now. But let's take a look at the chassis, which is the really interesting part, to look at the chassis. Like I said, it's just a really interesting experiment, and I recommend you guys try it. All right, I will see you on the next one.